Jos, looking forward to this topic on solar sizing. So there was no handout this time, Jos.
Yeah, but good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone has seen the video from my colleague Martijn.
Yeah.
And so we can go quickly through and focus on the Q&A.
Yeah. Absolutely. Into it as well. So we're just almost there. Jos, are you all well, Jos?
I'm well.
Okay.
It's getting colder now. It's rainy today in Holland.
Yeah. Okay. Raining.
Yeah, but this morning it was okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So hopefully you would be here with the class participants in November. We'll have good weather.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, colleagues, we're just going to give it 1 more minute more before we actually start, or actually 2 minutes more, maybe, just to be safe. So
yeah, Akash, a few is struggling with network on the group, so I'm sure they'll join in as mine. Yeah.
Akash, the email you sent just before the meeting, that you will address that after the class or maybe before.
I'm thinking of doing it in the front.
Yeah.
Just to make everyone aware.
Exactly.
Upfront. Okay. Cool.
Good.
Okay, colleagues, we're just going to give it 1 more minute. People are struggling. I haven't seen the chat, Miranda. Are people struggling to?
Yeah. I think the network is low.
Cool. Okay, colleagues, we're going to start while the rest of the colleagues are about to join. So just welcome to everyone that's joined this afternoon. We are on session number 4. And this is the last of the virtual, kind of topics. What we might also do in the coming weeks is share on the chat and by email some additional material, additional reading. We're going to keep the chat open. And then we're trying to get to middle of November when we're going to have some of the practical sessions. I'm going to share with you just now what we're planning for the practical sessions. So, colleagues, what we're really trying to do out of this session is that try to build the conversation around the different topics. When we started off as an introduction, the grid, the batteries, and today we're going to be talking about sizing, solar sizing. And then hopefully we get the opportunity in each one of the different mine host communities is to come and do a small practical training, in coming weeks. And we're targeting to do it from the 12th to the 29th across 7 sites. And Jos is coming down personally, and we're going to be able to maybe spend some time in person, maybe a day or so at each site. So, but in that kind of journey, as I mentioned before, we are going to need some help. We need about 7 different businesses from this class, preferably, to help us, with a few of the normalities. So we're going to be making a call later this week for any of you all that are interested in being part. It's a small installation, very small. We will pay you for it, but there's some homework that needs to be done, while and prepare the site and choose the site selection and help with Jos in advance to configure the size of the system. So what is going to happen is at the end of later this afternoon, on the actual chat, as well as we're going to make a call for participants. Belinda, are you able to see this? Yours, are you able to see this?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
So, colleagues,
Yes, Akash.
we're going to make a call for anyone who's from the class only, companies that are compliant. So you've got to be able to offer that COC. It's important because what we're doing, clients, colleagues, is that we've identified, maybe we're trying to identify one local community site like an ECD or maybe a hospital or a clinic, and trying to do a small project which is sponsored by Anglo American, like maybe 4, 5, 6 panel solar, if it is the solar, together with inverter and battery. But that site that we're planning to do or install will be we'll use it as a basis for the practical training, where we'll probably assemble it in advance and then we'll leave it behind and install it. The local company will install it and leave it as part of the legacy of this project. So what we are doing is we're looking for companies who can install. So Jos won't install, but he'll fly down and he'll work with each of the companies over the next few weeks to be prepared for that training and get ready for that installation. We're going to be making a call. We're looking for companies around, all the different precincts of Mokolakwena, Mototolo, Twickenham, Rustenburg. But you got to be from the host communities or Shishan. So, and we're looking for somebody in this class. So what we would offer. So what we're saying very, very much in this thing, we're going to identify this particular, 6 or 7 companies. And it has to be from the Solar Masterclass, and we're going to check if you attended. And then we're going to be able to ask you to be remote coached and work with Jos in preparing in the site selection. So for a few of these sites, we have recommended by the social performance teams and the community teams, we have recommended sites, so maybe 1 or 2 to visit. And we identify the best site and then work with Jos to identify a solution. So what is your role? Exactly what I've just told you. Some site scouting, some planning and working with Jos as the coach. And then when we get to the practical session, we'll obviously get the dates coordinated between Northern Cape and Limpopo. Your role is to be that, help with that practical facilitation. When I say help, we might need to assemble some of the items in your, in a classroom before it gets installed later. Your job is to install it and to get the COC. So if you are interested in this opportunity, and we'll send you this by email, and we will send it to you late after this class by the WhatsApp. I think we, just write us a short motivation of 200 words why you think you're the right candidate, a copy of your company profile, electrical contractors registration, wireman's registration, and any professional registration and insurance. And if you can submit it to us by Wednesday. So we thought there's no better way to do the practical training than to use companies from this particular class. It also is an opportunity, if you get selected, it profiles you amongst those class. So what we're going to do for each of the key sites, whoever's from that site, we're going to invite them to come to the practical training. And it's typically about 6 to 8 or so companies. And in that session, Jos will, provide an update and reinforce some of the key learning techniques. And then we'll treat this installation for that site as a case study, like an MBA case study. Which was the site? What were the challenges? What proposal we suggested? Why? How did we solicize it? And what is the solution into it at the end of it? So very, very much hands-on and practical. So colleagues, you're going to see this opportunity coming up to this particular class. And you're going to be able to, send us some intent if you're keen to be able to do this as well. So I'm going to stop here for a minute. I'm going to first ask Shamantha if there's anything else that she wants to add. And then maybe you, Jos. Shamantha? Sorry, I think she's not here. Or did I drop her? Okay. Cool. Okay, Jos, is there anything else from your side before I take any questions?
No, let's see what will be the reaction on this call. How many companies we can are interested to do these jobs, this 7 sites. 7 sites is now being contracted with Anglo American, correct?
Yeah, they host communities, yes, or host sites where they have mining operations. Cool. Tondeka, ask a question.
Good afternoon, all. Akash, I just want to find out, since perhaps maybe it looks like it's going to be, I mean, you can only take up to so many numbers. For those who don't, who perhaps don't get their company to be chosen or to be selected, how can we participate, maybe in conjunction with a local company that would have been appointed?
Yeah, so there's very limited sites Tondeka. We know that. We There's about 70 people in this class. We only got like 6, So what we're going to do is also look for future. So we're asking everyone to apply and send us their details. There's also, we envisage some new opportunities coming in the months ahead. So we're going to be able to keep those that applied and have all their details into it as well. At an individual site, I don't know how different people can participate, but we can keep that as an opportunity as well if it allows. So let us get to this. Let us see who applies. There might be 5 people applying, but there might be more. We'll keep it in mind if we can maybe see how others can benefit of it. But remember, each business from each of those areas will be invited to attend the training, so they will benefit and go through the process of how that installation worked. So from a learning, like a practical class. But if there's the opportunity to use 1 or 2 at a site, we'll consider it. But if you apply, colleagues, there's only limited opportunities. Don't be disappointed. We're hoping to keep you in mind, and we're hoping a few more opportunities comes in months to come. Cool. Kanki, go for it. Kanki, maybe unmute yourself first. Are you there, Kanki? Your hands are up. Okay, we'll come back to you, Kanki. Johannes?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
Yes, I would like to find out, like for in my company, the company by itself as such does not have wiring certificate, but my electricians have, and they have COCs. So, can I apply as well?
Yeah. Send in the
Yeah,
details.
because I've got 3 qualified electricians in my company. We are 3,
Okay.
and we all have COCs and we have all wiring certificates.
Okay, fantastic.
And
Send
we
in
have
the application.
yes, and we have solar installation qualifications as well, certificates.
Okay. Cool, fantastic.
All right then.
Cool.
Thank
Kanki,
you
you
so
put
much.
your hand down. No problem, Johannes. Kanki, are you okay? You sorted out? Okay. I'm assuming
Okay.
Kanki is. Tondai, you got your hand up still? Is that the old hand? Tondakai?
Oh, sorry, that's the old hand. It's Tondekai.
Tondakai. Okay, I get it. I won't forget that now. Tondakai.
Okay.
Fantastic. Colleagues, you're going to have an opportunity about this. So to still ask questions or maybe clarify, but we will email the detail, everything that I read out. We just want to make you aware, colleagues, of the opportunities. And I want you to sit back and think, the whole objective of this solar masterclass was to evangelize interest. We want to have some sort of practical, uh, principles of what some of the areas we spoke about as a practical session, and that's where the PUM government is going to fly yours down and to come and spend a few weeks in South Africa, 2 weeks actually, or thereabout, 2.5. And we're going to plan for those days of the practical training. There might be some logistics that we need to go and arrange. Where do we do the installation? Sometimes it might not be practical on the site. It might be at a training room or your factory workshop, but we'll get to that. But for now, the opportunity is there. I encourage all of you all who are able to apply and have the COC and the qualifications to do so, and send it to us by Wednesday as such, if you're keen. So colleagues, the next administrative task I need to make you aware, we're in week 4. We've completed the actual virtual element of this training. We're going to send you like a thank you letter or agreement, 1 page on that to say that you are part of this Solar Masterclass training. We haven't sent it earlier because we wanted to make sure we get deep into the course so you actually see some of the areas or benefits of the course. But let us get quickly back. Yes, I apologize, but it was a very important discussion to go into it. Today's topic is on solar sizing. You would have been shared a recording. So there was no handout for today. You would have seen a video by Martin. Martin was somebody that conducted one of our previous masterclasses, and he went through a step-by-step, kind of process as to how you go about solar size it. You would have seen him use GIS, into the process. And I think he tried to use an examples within the Northern Cape when he went through it. So the idea being is you would have had a chance to look at the slides. I shared the slides this weekend. You would have also had a chance to watch the video, but now Jos is going to quickly go through an overview of this important area as such, and then we'll open the class for discussions. Over to you, Jos.
Okay, thank you, Akash. Then let me start sharing my screen. This should be done now. You can all see it, eh? Akash, you can see?
100%.
Okay, good. Then let's start. So system sizing, and a system can be sized in many ways and many things around it, but some kind of aspects are always leading, and often this is the budget. We will come back to that. Often this is the space available and the location where you are, and with the software I can that I give you. Oh, it is automatically moving on. Okay. With the software that we will go into, which is live on internet and which is free to use, you can always simulate what you are doing. You can see what is happening in the system and how much energy the system is generating. That is a very important tool also to convince your customer and to predict what the system will be doing. So for this course, we focus first on grid-tied systems, and go also into off-grid systems, and say also some words on the hybrid systems that are normally used in South Africa. But for the sake of simplicity, we start with grid-tied, which is rather easy to understand, and but which also often is not the case in South Africa. But anyhow, let's see where we are. And of course, in the end, you always have to look at the specific situation, and where also PUM experts can help you with such a system to check together with you if you made the right decisions or made the right things. Okay. So grid connected system, we already said before, we start with the solar panels. We have the inverter, which is inverting the DC energy to AC. Then you go to the distribution board. Oh, this is it is on automatic. How do I put this? Can someone help me?
Sorry, say that again, Jos?
He is on automatic forwarding. Well, that is not always, but okay.
I don't understand that, Jos.
Yeah. The slides are moving forward automatically without pushing on. It's programmed in the. and I don't know exactly where to change that. But anyhow, this is the standard, let's say, grid connected system. You are all aware of that, but it all comes and goes with if it is allowed to feed back energy into the grid, and what do I get for it? What is the value of the energy? So in this case, we have no batteries and no backup. In all over the world, this is used the most, this kind of system. That's why we also put it into this slides. But we also will focus later on in this course on a battery backup. So looking to this solar generation versus self-consumption, then you see here the time of the day, and the red line is the load profile or the usage of energy in a house. This is purely an example. This is not general, purely an example. And here you see the green line, which is the generation of the solar system. Also an example in case of a clear sky without any clouds. That can also be different. And you see in this graph basically what the solar generates, what the load consumes, and in the blue area underneath the line is basically the self-consumption. So this amount of energy is directly used from the solar cells, and in the evening your load will be there still, and you actually take energy from the grid. Also in this case, in this very morning, you take energy from the grid. And here during the day, this dark green area is basically the energy that you sell back to the grid. So how many PV modules are needed? This is most of the time the questions. So you start with what is the electricity consumption of the house or the building, or where do I have the system for? So first make an assessment of the consumption of electricity of basically the load profile. And that gives some constraints. And in a local situation, do I have net metering or a feed-in tariff? That is sometimes the question. Then the available roof space, how many places do I have to put panels? Sometimes this is large enough, but in some other situations, like a bigger building, when you are in an industrial situation, the roof space, but also the roof loading can be of influence. The roof loading, I mean with that, how many kilos per square meter can the roof withstand? I cannot put a complete elephant on top of the roof. You always have to see how much is possible on the roof construction of the building itself. So the loading is, and always a structural engineer in a larger building should state that, or should confirm this. Then we have the capacity of the grid connection. In a normal house with 4 to 10 panels, no problem. But when you are in a larger situation, a larger project, this can be of influence. Then, what I said before, the available budget is always something which is a constraint and which can limit the size of the system. So out of all these, you have a discussion with your customer, or you calculate it. What is the maximum capacity available? How many square meters? How many panels I can place there? And what is the investment then? And as a next step, you have the number of panels. You can still have the possibility, do I install this facing to the equator, so in the South African case facing to the north, or when I want to use more space, do I have the possibility to on a flat roof to make a east-west situation, or when the roof is not facing completely north, then you always have another orientation. And with this kind of information, you can basically calculate through PVGIS, through the internet program, which we'll be doing in a few minutes, you can calculate what is the electricity produced. This software allows you to give a rather detailed calculation of the electricity produced, taking in mind all these boundary conditions. And with this information, so the electricity price, what is the value of every kilowatt hour that is generated by the solar panels, you can make a calculation on the savings or payback time or return on investment or whatever you would like to discuss with your customer or whatever you would like to show. And in these cases, all kinds of calculation methods are available. So from solar irradiation to electric power. Once again, some remarks. The irradiation, don't forget that, depend always on the location on Earth's surface. Where are you? Where is the project location situated? And what kind of climate and seasons you have there. And you don't need to know it out of your head. That's why we have this PV-GIS and all this information on the dependence on the Earth location and the climates and also the tilt angle of the solar panels are basically in this software incorporated. So that means when you put in the right location, it does all the calculation for you. And we will show that in a few minutes. So the electrical power generated by the solar system depends on this orientation towards the sun. So the tilt or slope and the azimuth. Azimuth is you go to the north or to the east or to the west with your system or something in between. And we have the total capacity of the system, how many solar panels and how many watt peaks you are installing. So again, in this graph, you see that the tilt angle is the angle which is the slope of the panel. Most often, this is the same as the slope of the roof, not always. So when you have a tilted roof, or then you put the panels in the same direction. When you have a flat roof, you have much more possibilities, and that is also depending on how many panels are fitted on that roof and you can change the orientation depending on certain boundary conditions. Imagine that you have a flat roof here and that next to the panels there is a large tree or there is some dark wall of another building. Then you can better turn the panels a little bit to the other side and as much as possible, of course, to the equator, but to benefit from things. Or when you have a completely white wall, then you have some extra light coming from this white wall, which is coming back from this area. So you have a lot of possibilities to put your panels. And then, last but not least, don't forget that from solar irradiation to electric power, you have losses to incorporate. Losses due to temperature, system losses in inverter and cabling, you always have that. But the thicker the cabling, the less losses. And when you have bad connections, you can imagine that you lose power there. And that will also be dangerous in the last. Then shading losses. I just already mentioned this situation with this tree. And there can be a lot of dirt on the panels and a lot of other, let's say, faults in the system that incorporate losses. So we have some this simulation tools, and we focus here on PV-GIS. I'm now on the internet page. Is this visible, Akash? Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
You can see it.
Yeah. Okay. So when you click on this link, and this is in the presentation, there was several times given this link. you enter up in this. You enter in this this page of on the internet of PVGIS. That is a software tool which is developed originally by with financial support from the European Commission, and so this is because this was a lot of support. This is not a commercial program. This is a free software, free to use for everyone. Of course, you also have software packages which you have to buy the license for that, and of course they can do more, but also you have to pay that for this. But for the simple use, this is a perfect situation because it's free. So and this also always will be updated automatically. We don't need to do that. It's done for you. So let's go to some numbers here. And the database is the database and the database that they have themselves. We have a PV technology, which is crystalline silicon, which is always the case. You can choose here probably. If I can do that, I don't know. Should be installed peak power. You can put your numbers of panels here. Then the system loss in percentage. This is standard put on 14%. This is a normal number which comes out of experience. Leave that as it is. Mounting position, freestanding, or you can choose from with a roof. And then you can add or you can change the number of the slope and the azimuth. And you can also put a link here to optimize the slope. One way or the other, I cannot, it doesn't work well. I don't know why. Oh yeah, I have to choose first the location. Then I choose Kuruman. Kuruman in Northern Cape, and it automatically goes to this location. Now I can change. Now, haha. Now I can change. So always check if what you put in is the right situation. I don't know what my software is. Always when you are in a situation of demo, it doesn't do what you want. But anyhow, this is Kuruman. I checked it yesterday. This is the Kuruman in South Africa. So if you type something, always check by zooming out if you are on the right spot. And I don't know why it is not coming. It is loading very slow, one way or the other. Then go to a slope of I put there a 20 degrees slope, and I put the azimuth not on 0 but on 180. Why do I put this on 180? Because in the southern hemisphere where we are in South Africa, we have to face towards the north with the solar panels. So I put 180 because it is defined out of the thinking of Europe. So 0 is to the south. And I just can visualize already some results. There it is immediately. This is also nice. You get immediate results. And you see here, for the several months of the year, you see the output in kilowatt hours of a system of 1 kilowatt peak. So 1000 watt peak, which means it is about 3 solar panels of 350, but anyhow, you can here put in also when you have 6 panels of 400, so you have 2.5 here. And when you then put visualize results, you see that the graph looks the same, but your output is much higher. And when I, let's say, put the panels just to play with it, I don't put the panels facing north in Kuruman, but I'm facing the panels south in Kuruman. And just that you see what is the difference, I put in 0, the same 20 degrees. So basically I put these panels on the other side of the roof. When one slope of the roof was facing north and one side of the roof is facing south, I now gonna see what is the south effect. And I do visualize, and now you see the difference that you have in the November and December and January, February, when it is summertime, when the sun is very high, you still have the same output. But in the months that the sun is in the winter months, you lose a lot of energy, very low performance. That's why you have to take care that you face the panels to the right side. Let's see when I put 90 and I go to the east, I do visualize, and you see that you still lose something in the winter months, and that's why you always have to try to do the right situation and put it on the north, and so facing the equator. And then you see that almost every month you have the same output. And so this is every month the same, with a little more in this summer months. Okay, fine. And you can even do optimized slope and azimuth, same, visualize results. And now he is optimizing to the maximum energy output over the year. So that is another way of doing it. But especially when you have a battery inside, you want to have every day, let's say every month, a little bit the same energy output, and not maximized over the year, because otherwise you maybe spoil energy. So you here have a number which gives you the yearly energy production in kilowatt hours. In this case, 4,573 with 2.5 kilowatt peak. And now you can calculate, very simple, the amount of energy produced over a year, depending on the installed energy power, on the installed peak power. This is basically kilowatt hours divided by kilowatt peak. And that's why when you put here in 1, you have a 1-to-1. And then you see for Kuruman, in this case, you have 1,829 kilowatt hours per kilowatt peak. I put here 1. When I very quickly change the location to, let's do it, Amsterdam, we go to Europe, and I say go with the same system, then I take the same slope. Oh, this is New Amsterdam. Sorry, this is somewhere in the US. So I do Amsterdam, Netherlands. Is he taking the right one? I hope so. Yeah, this is Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Some people could recognize the canals. And when I put a system there in 0 azimuth, 20 degrees slope, 1 kilowatt, remember that we had for Kuruman 1,800. And now when you calculate it for Amsterdam, and then you see they have 1,000, and that is only half. And this is what you have with 20 degrees. And you see here a completely other climate. You see here that you have January, December, you have winter time. And June, July, May, June, July, you have the summertime that is high. But there's also a very big difference between summer and winter. And this is depending just on the climate. So when we put, for instance, I put a very desert climate, which is already in Northern Cape, then maybe the case. Or I put something in as Jakarta, Indonesia, which is not a desert, but a tropical situation. And I put also south and also 20 degrees, just to compare. I have to go first. Then he has to load the database of Jakarta. And yeah, there he is. And now I do visualize results. And you see that in the case of Jakarta, you don't have 1,800, you have 1,300. And this is because in Kuruman, you have a more desert climate with a lot of sun during the year. And in Jakarta, you have a tropical climate with a lot of clouds during the day. And you see here the effect of rainy season and dry season. So a different season, different results. So you can see that with the same 1 kilowatt of solar panels, putting them on different locations on Earth, you have completely different yearly production, which you should always keep in mind, and that this is the case. And therefore, it is always good to use this tool and put your location in and see what are the results. Now going back to Kuruman, South Africa, and then yeah, we had this. Remember, no, we do something wrong. Kuruman. What is I have the azimuth on 0. Very good. I should have it on 180. Visualize, and now you see that you have almost flat during the year, and you have this 1,857, which is very good. I can tell you that you won't reach much more than 2,000 in whatever situation. Maybe you go a little bit above when you are in a really desert area where the sun is even getting more, but around 2,000 is almost the maximum that you can reach. So Kuruman is in fact a location on Earth where the irradiation from the sun is really to a maximum. Now I want to see inside South Africa if we have a difference when we compare it to Kuruman. So let's go to Cape Town. Go. This looks like Cape Town. Yeah, I see here. Okay. Then I take the same situation and I do visualize results. And you see that in Cape Town you have 1,700, which is, let's say, 5% less than Kuruman. And you see a much more difference between the summer and winter because you are more to the south and you have more influence from the sea, and which gives you a different situation. And when you put the tilt angle a little bit higher in Cape Town, then you can maybe increase a little bit. So sometimes this is also a little bit trial and error to find the optimum, and also depending on some other losses. Okay, I think, or we can go to more to the north, to Limpopo. Akash, give me a situation in Limpopo, Pietersburg.
Polokwane.
Let's do it like this. The Dutch name.
The
South
Dutch
Africa. You see. Let me see what is coming. Let me go to 20.
Yeah. Oh, Burgersfort. You can try that.
He doesn't know. Polo Kwane.
Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah. Polokwane. Polokwane.
Yeah. Petersburg. There he was. You always find
Yeah,
it. My internet is slow.
It's the old name.
My internet is slow. This is Polokwane, Petersburg. So more to the north, to Limpopo. I take the same, and just when I do visualize, you see yearly production 1,715. It's rather flat with 20 degrees. Maybe I can increase this a little bit by doing 15. And no, it's going down. So, which means that in Petersburg and Polokwane, probably there was more a climate which has more clouds during the year. And when you disagree, you can always check to the raw data, but all these this database has been checked with a lot of locations. But anyhow, you can by yourself, you can play with this and get some feeling with it, and I would say just use it because it's free software. And when you do some other numbers, you can also do some financial calculations, but let us focus now on this one. Then going back to the to the presentation. So here once again you see some orientation things. You can play with it with PVGIS. You saw that you and that you can see what the difference is. So when you have a customer with a roof facing southeast, let's say 45 degrees southeast, it's very simple. Eh? You do not 180, but you do 215. Just do something, and you compare 1,696, and you do visualize. Oh, what do I? Minus 180, 215 is not possible. So when you do something wrong, the software warns you. So I do 160, and I do visualize result, and I see that this doesn't make sense so much. Why is this? Because the slope is rather low, and when you put it a little bit towards the north or the northeast or the northwest, it doesn't have so many influence because the sun is coming up in the on one side of the globe and going over the day to the other side. So it doesn't make so much sense. So it is not so sensitive to the exact orientation. When you go more than 90 degrees from the north, you go really to the east and to the west, or even to the south. You saw that this then it goes quicker. So then so slope or tilt angle we have. Then there are systems on the market which are called tracking systems. We have not much said about this situation. These are sometimes used in large projects where they used one-axis or two-axis tracking systems. The two-axis tracking systems, which is a system where the solar panels are following the sun every minute of the day, they give the highest output. But you can imagine that you have to install the solar panel on a structure that follows the sun the whole day, which means it is rather complex and it is rather costly. And of course, it generates a little bit more, but mostly this is not cost effective. So our advice is always to install the panels as easy as possible. That can be on the roof, that can be on a flat roof, or that can be next to a building next to the house on the ground. When the customer wants that, fine. Take care of as less as possible shading, and when you think about the possibility that someone is stealing the panels, then put them on the roof. Then it is more secure than just on the ground. Orientation of the existing roof. This is, let's say, the most straightforward way of mounting solar panels. Then also an important thing is that when you make a string of solar panels, so when you're connecting some solar panels in series, take care that all these solar panels have the same orientation. So when you have, let's say, a house with some small areas with different orientation on the roof, and you want to put solar panels on different orientations, take care that you use another input on the inverter for that, and another MPPT. This is, most of the inverters have the second input possibility. Okay, then this PV-GIS, I already explained it. It was again in text. Of course, don't think that you have an accuracy of 1%, but everything is within about 10%. And also know that in year one, you can have 1,700 kilowatt hours per kilowatt peak, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have the same amount of sunshine the next year. That can be 5 or 10% difference. Always take care and never say to a customer, I guarantee you what PV-GIS is saying. Always give the guarantees that you have on a product level from your suppliers or from the producers of solar panels and inverters and battery, but don't give a system guarantee on based on output. This is killing for you. Then you have this this website. You've seen that you can go to it. You enter some numbers and you get your output, which is average yearly energy production in kilowatt hours. The variability on per month. This is this nice graph with the output per month. And you can calculate the optimum slope. You can also do that by trial and error. And in case you fill in some financial figures, so which means the value of the kilowatt hour, then you can also calculate some levelized cost of energy. But this is another thing which in South Africa is normally not the case, that you have no policy on getting the energy back. But let's see. So this is what we did, and you can even do other languages. I don't know if they have Afrikaans, but English you know all. And this is what we have seen just the last 15 minutes, and then you get a graph like this. I would say just go to it by yourself, play with it, that you get used to it, and that you can see when you make mistakes. You have seen that. Then normally the program is warning you or not moving on. And when you have questions, you can always go to the app and ask for further advice. And then this is an example of Kureman. You saw this. When you put in minus 180, it comes back with minus 179, but that has just to do with the mathematical stability of the program. Okay, then it says 1773 kilowatt hours per kilowatt peak per year is extremely good. Kureman has been chosen also as an example with a desert climate, which has a very high irradiation per year, and we have seen that we make the comparison to Cape Town, and we make the comparison to Polokwane, that both locations are a little bit less in sunshine. But that is only a few percent. And throughout South Africa, you have a high radiation anyhow. And when you take the wide slope angle, you can do it. You can limit the monthly variation to a certain extent, so that you can have every month the same. And when there is a good reason to have more in some other months, you can play with the program to make the slope otherwise. Then going quickly through some economical aspects. This is just an example of this calculation tool. It goes over a 6 kilowatt grid tied system in Kuruman, and I don't know if this is really this capex. I think the prices are different at the moment. But when you calculate in this situation, you have a payback time of 5 years, which is, I think, quite good in terms of investment. CO2 reduction is something, and then you can have this kind of graphs that you see in the first year. You are negative on the cash flow, cumulative cash flow, and then in the other, after 5 years, you have it pays itself back, and after that years, you have a positive cash flow and you earn money. As long as the system is working, and as long as the system is maintained, and as long as the panels are cleaned, and as long as the cables are checked. So don't forget that there is still something like operation and maintenance, which has to be done at least for a minimum to keep the system healthy. The system doesn't work in the year 20 when the inverter is not working anymore. You don't get money when the system is not working. Please always keep that in mind. And you have the different kinds of spreadsheets to calculate this. And then also when you have different quotations and there are differences, always look at the cost per watt peak in terms of investment. You can have higher prices, but in this case, number C, with higher capacity, it has a lower price per watt peak. But the question is always, and I have explained that half an hour ago, that the space on the roof and the amount of money in at the customer sites is sometimes leading. But when you have systems close to each other, try to make this comparison and this analysis to use the cost per watt peak as a qualifier, but not always look at the cost per watt peak, because some suppliers also know that you look at this, but look also at experience. Is the wholesaler or is the installation company or the EPC company able to do the job? Does he or she have references? Is the company of a good reputation? And are the products well known? Can you find them in the internet? Also something. When someone gives you a quotation, look at the internet. Does this brand exist? What are the reviews? And you can find a lot on the internet for free. Okay, so this all about the sizing of the on-grid. Then some words on off-grid sizing. Off-grid, you don't have a grid, as it says. You have the solar panels and you have a battery, and everything works on an autonomous way. And when you have this, when you have no connection to the grid and you also have no connection to a generator, you have the solar panels, the regulator, and the battery. And then you're going to basically size the system that you capture enough solar energy on the worst season. Because basically you want to use the system every day. And the size of the battery and the size of the solar panels are then, let's say, designed based on the worst season. And on the other side, you have some required energy for your loads. Not all the loads are of the same importance. When you are in the clinic that you have to store medicine, what is more important, looking to the television or keep your medicines at a low temperature? So then you have to say the fridge is the most important load, and the lights also, but the television and the computers may be less. So they can only be used when there is enough light coming into the system. And the fridge for the medicine is always priority number one. These are some kind of considerations. Peak sun hours, this thing for Kuruman, Northern Cape, for this example, you have 5.7 kilowatt hours per square meter in terms of sun hours. And when you have such a day like this, then basically the area underneath this graph, you can also represent in a rectangular way. Back one. In a rectangular way to say these are the number of peak hours, so 5.7 times 1. And this is basically the same as the area under this graph. This is the way to basically calculate the number of PV panels when you look at the energy demand. You have the energy demand, you have the specific PV output in this specific location. You can find that on PVGIS. And you can calculate your battery capacity by the daily energy demand times the number of days that you want to have autonomy, that you can say, I want to have 1.5 or 2 days, which is common in this kind of systems, of autonomy. That gives you the capacity of the battery in watt hours. So the mentioning of off-grid solar system is always looking at the load, always looking at the amount of energy that is to be used, and always looking at, on what location on Earth am I? When I take 3 panels or 4 panels.
Yeah.
Sorry, someone is asking? No.
Apologies, US. I think Miranda, would you just like to see who's
Checking,
thank you.
Akash.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, US.
Okay, no problem. So based on the daily energy demand, you can size your solar array in terms of watt peak and your battery bank when you define the numbers of storage available. You can check this by PVGIS, and then you can choose your different loads and say, yeah, nice. This I want this fridge every working day and night, and I want some other loads that are not working day and night, and you can choose between that. So I can optimize a little bit there. Seasonal loads, is there an airco? Do I need this airco? Critical loads, deferrable loads. And then also in these kind of systems, these kind of autonomous systems where you don't have a grid and you have to generate your own energy, always start looking, can I reduce my energy usage? Can I reduce some loads? Because reduction of loads without any investment can be the most cheapest way of generating energy. Then go to PVGIS, to the same software, and calculate and see what you have done, if that is correct. But there was a lot of trial and error in this. So go to the website, and you can always choose for off-grid system, and you can put a battery inside, and then it calculates for you the results, which gives also a number of days with an empty battery. So it has an output of a performance, and actually you can say, okay, I make a 100% performance every day over the year. So this means my battery will never go down, never will be an empty battery. I have always enough energy. Then the question is your system not too expensive? So sometimes you can discuss with your customer, okay, I can allow for a few days with an empty battery, and then I can reduce my loads. Then I can reduce the size of the system a little bit. So just play with it and see that what is for you the best situation in terms of installed watt peak and battery capacity. Then some economical aspects. Take care that when you have batteries, your system is much more expensive. But in most of the cases, in South Africa, you need your battery because you want to make use of the situation when the grid is not there, which is often the case. And off-grid systems should not be compared in itself with the grid, but with the generator. And when you use a generator as an alternative to the alternative energy source, you know that you have to put in diesel or other fuel inside, which costs you money every time you have to fill it up. And this is not for free. The fuel of a solar system is basically for free. That's the sun. And of course, a solar system has a higher capex, but then the opex is very low. A generator system has a low capex, but a high opex, diesel and maintenance cost. And this is a graph showing, just as an example, the generator cost and the solar cost cumulative as a comparison. But I think this goes too deep now. But this is a nice graph to show you that the total cost of energy, which means the levelized cost of energy, for different situations, grid connected, solar, utility, off-grid, and a generator, in cents per kilowatt hour, or dollar cents. Let me see. Yeah. When you have a generator, this is the general cost of dollar cents per kilowatt hour. And for rands, you have to go times 20. Yeah, is that correct? Then when you have off-grid solar, you can compete with the generator. You can see that. And utility grid, the costs are in this area, depending on, of course, on the country where you are and on your electricity provider. I don't know exactly the cost that you pay with Eskom, but there's something there. And grid connected solar, depending on the size, can be already less than 10 cents. Especially in larger systems, you are even down to 5 cents when you have high irradiation figures. So you see here, grid connected solar.
Yeah, I think it's
you
good.
compete
It's
with
good. At
utility
least we
grid.
can have some
You can be
direction.
cheaper.
I'm so sorry, Jos. I'm so sorry. This colleagues are jumping in without music. Marina, will you help, please?
Okay.
Cool. Sorry, continue.
We are almost
Yeah.
through, and then we are open for questions.
Okay.
So off-grid solar is, please compare it to a generator system, and you see that you are cheaper. So going off-grid without using the grid, and that is a statement that I really want to make here. Always use the grid when it is available. When you have a system which is hybrid, meaning you have solar panels, you have a hybrid inverter, and you have a battery, and you also have a connection to the grid. Use the grid as long as it is there, and use the battery for the periods that you have no grid available. So when there is load shedding, that you have a system with a battery. So this solar backup systems, what we talk about now with off-grid systems with normally a smaller battery, and for a limited time, because as parts of the day you have the grid available, you can charge your battery again, and your battery has a limited time of 6 hours when the grid is not there, and you can use your loads. Most of the time, your essential loads. And really sizing a system, an off-grid or a hybrid system, is rather difficult to do it in general terms, because you have always to look at a specific situation where you are in. Always, there's you don't know how much of the time the grid is not available, and when you compare it to a generator, then the solar cost can be considerably lower. So that is why solar is taking a rather quick growth in the market. And what you see is that you have in a hybrid system, when there is still a generator available, you use it only limited time. When the sun is longer time only low, and there is higher loads, then you can charge your battery with a generator and boost it up. That is a possibility. So this graph we have seen for a grid connected system, but now for a system which is hybrid. Again, you have your load profile, which is this line basically. That is the load profile during the day. And here in the night, your battery is empty. You take it from the grid when the grid is there. Then the sun is coming up. You first have direct consumption. It's always there. And when you have more power available from your solar panels than you use directly, you charge your battery. And when your battery has a full state of charge, somewhere during the day, that can be earlier or can be later, when you still have energy available more than you use directly, you feed it into the grid. And in the evening, you use the energy from the battery that you have stored until the battery is empty, and you start using from the grid. So this is basically the situation of a hybrid system where you have battery storage and grid. This feed in to the grid, of course, only when it is permitted. And when not, you can increase your consumption, or this energy is basically lost, but the automatic controllers take care that there is nothing is breaking. It is automatically steered, but in a situation that you can feed into the grid, why should you not do it? Yeah, then a different analysis of different systems. These are numbers which are not actually at the moment the situation in South Africa, but you can see as a comparison that you have for an off-grid situation, for the same amount of energy, you use much more solar, a much larger battery, and consequently a much higher capex. And when you have only grid tied, that is the most simple system, and for a hybrid is somewhere in between.
Just
So-
can we spend a few minutes in just going through it? I'm just wary of time,
Yeah,
for some questions and engagements.
but I'm at the summary, so I'm finishing in 1 minute.
Okay.
So economics of backup with specific situations. Batteries are normally expensive, so take care that your battery is not too large, and that it is fit for the purpose that you are selling it. running hours of the generator when it is there. Try to limit it as much as possible. And solar becomes competitive when it is used daily. That is of course the case. And when you are in Northern Cape with the highest irradiation, you have a good financial return. So PUM can help you on specific situations, you know that, and we can go on specific courses on the internet. But that let me stop at this moment, and let us open the floor for questions.
Fantastic. Yeah, colleagues, but just I fully understand this is one topic you have to teach it interactively.
Yeah.
As you go through and as you explain. So, for example, comparing Kuruman to Polokwane and Cape Town. So you have to play around. And as much as I want to get questions, I think it's very important that you went through it in that detail. We are having a few businesses today struggling with connectivity in Northern Cape, US. I think it's just it's been bad for the last few days. I see several have been messaging me and messaging the chat.
Okay.
But colleagues,
Yeah.
we'll quickly open the chat into any questions or any for Jos. And I just want to quickly go to see the questions. Jos, if you go to the chat.
Yeah.
Is today's
Where are we? What time?
1 second. 14:57.
Yeah, can PV voltage get affected? What has the biggest influence on solar PV output? The voltage basically on your system is predefined as you design it. So the number of panels in series, that is hardware, that will not change during the day. So you have a nominal system with battery backup, which is connected to the grid, which has a normal 230 output AC, and a battery for, let's say, 48 volts, sometimes 24. That is defined. But what you probably mean by this question, what is the output of the PV? Can it be influenced? Yes, it will be influenced by the climate. That is first. So every minute of the day it will be different. Always be prepared when you do measurements, or when the customer is calling you and saying my system is not working. Then look at your watch, look at the clock when he is calling you in the evening. Yeah, your system is not working because there is no light. That is the most simple thing. Depending on the amount of light on the solar panel is generating more or less. It should be very simple and should also be known to the people who work with it. Then the shadow of other things can affect it. Dirt can affect it heavily, and of course a little bit the temperature. But basically the amount of light that is captured by the solar panel is generating the amount of energy. That is the basic rule. And so always look what amount of light is coming to the solar panel. Then you can say something if the system is working correctly or not. And then also when solar panels are connected to a battery and the battery is in a full state of charge, you have seen that in the last week lecture. When the battery is full, then the controller will be switching off the solar panels, or turning it a little bit down, because the solar generator, the solar controller is preventing the battery to be overcharged. So that can also cause the output of the solar panels be lowered. Okay, so that is the influence on solar output. Then the PV GIS, this website has been communicated. Okay, very good. Any more questions?
Cool. So let's just ask the class. We'll leave it open. Colleagues, if you have any question, I think the intention is today is to share with you a free tool, how you go about using it. The only way that you're going to be able to learn is to play with it. If you have questions, you're more than welcome, even outside the session, to drop in the chat. And Jos is looking at the chat. Remember, this is not the end of the journey lecture 4. We're still going to be in contact till we come and do that. Jos comes to do that practical kind of one-on-one day session. So the chat's open. We can still ask questions. We can share ideas. We'll even share new topics and additional topics.
Yeah, maybe for my visit when I'm there, we make, of course, a program where I travel to which sites on which day, and we would like to organize in such a way that the system, the components are there on the day that I'm there. That we are trying to install it on that day, and that you basically can witness also the installation of the system in 1 or 2 days. It should not take more than that. We hope that we can plan it in such a way that when I'm traveling throughout the country, that we can do the logistics in the right way, but that you can choose the location nearest to you, and that you can be there, and that you can witness the installation. And of course, we do. You can ask any questions you like. At the moment, I'm available on that location.
Cool, fantastic. There's the next question there. Can I use capacitors on solar panels?
A capacitor is basically a battery with. You can also store energy in it. Is that what you mean? It doesn't make use that much, or you ask the question in another way.
Cool. Paul, you want to ask your question? Go for it, Paul.
You can also, when you unmute yourself, we can have a short discussion on what you mean.
Paul, are you there?
Okay, George.
Yeah.
How are you, gentlemen?
Fantastic.
I just wanted to understand, because the capacitator can store a lot of power and also assist in producing more power. So
Yeah,
I wanted to understand to increase the voltage. Yes, can I use the solar the capacitors with the solar panels?
No,
that
is not advisable. That is not advisable to use capacitors, because a capacitor, electronic component capacitor, can only store a very limited amount of energy in a very short time. So to get rid of a peak, let's say that is generated by lightning, that is used for, but you cannot increase the performance of your system with a capacitor. That is not advisable.
Okay, thank you, Joseph.
Okay, welcome.
Colleagues, any other questions? So, colleagues, we know that it's been bad connectivity. People are on and off. And I know it appears to be an area, localized area. So we will share the recording. I will share the opportunity sheet as well for you a little later today, and then you can just give us your intention in the next few days by Wednesday. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Murape. Remember, you can also apply for your own coaching of your particular organization, but it's just a part of the conversation, colleagues, to ignite interest. We're going to have a practical session that we're going to get going, and we're going to try to make it in the most meaningful way as such. Cool. Colleagues, any other questions? We have 5 more minutes. You can still ask the questions on the chat. Any other questions or any comments?
Yeah, I see a comment which is very positive. So, yeah, it is a business opportunity, guys. Remember that you can, when you organize it right for yourself, you can earn money with this business. It is not something that is very difficult. But be precise and take a good business sense. Then you can earn money.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. Colleagues, thank you so much for your time. So, Marinda, when you have a chance and you download it, it takes a few hours before we download the actual video and load it up in YouTube. So she'll share it. If you've got questions, so Jos, you might get a little extra questions. just be aware because of the poor connectivity. There may even be a request to do a small session with a smaller group. What you've just done now, there may be a request. So I'm just preparing you for it because today was just unusually.
Of course, we can make use of the situation and say next Monday at 2 p.m. we reserve at least 1 or 2 hours to have a session, and when there are participants, we can do that. I have time next Monday. I don't know if that is same for you, Akash. That we say at 2 o'clock from 2 to 4 we reserve a slot in our agenda to answer questions live. I'm available to do that. Let's say it like that.
Yeah. Let me just speak to the class and see if there's a need for that. I am tentatively, I have a meeting, but let me get back to you, Jos, on that.
Okay, no problem.
Cool. Colleagues, thank you so much for your time. If there is a need, we'll just coordinate with Jos. Even if I'm not in the class, Jos, they all know you now. I'm just the man in the middle. Marinda can be the man in the middle for me on that particular day. But thank you so much, colleagues. If there's a need for one more, if there's a need for one more session, and for those that missed out today, even if it's a small 10 of you all, we don't want you to miss out. Just maybe we can start having that conversation on the chat, and then we'll arrange for Jos to be available. Marinda can be in the class even if I'm not available. Colleagues, thank you so much for your time. We'll post the recording, we'll post the opportunities, for that practical training, but the chat will be open from now till end of November till we do the practical training, advising you where it is, what are we doing. We'll even share some pictures of the actual training to keep it excited. And I'll also engage with Jos to put some extra content. There's certain areas we had only 4 topics virtually, but whatever additional content we have, like on installation and from the PUM library, we'll share with you all. But thank you so much, Jos. Deep gratitude once again for making the time available. Marinda, thanks you for coordinating it and getting all the data and getting everyone online. But colleagues, thank you so much. We'll chat to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Thank you,
bye.
everybody. Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, Jos.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.